Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So you're not going to want to miss today's video. I've got that traditional fall comfort food ready for you. We're going to be making a Wendy's Copycat chili recipe in the crock pot. Stay tuned. So guys, I am really excited about today's video. Not only are we going to be making a copycat Wendy's chili recipe in the crock pot, but I'm also going to be showing you 5 ways to use up that leftover chili, because you know when you make a big pot of chili, you always have a bunch left over. So I'm going to give you some new inventive ways, some that you may not have heard of, and maybe some you've already tried. And I'd love to hear what your favorite ways to use leftover chili is down in the comments too. So make sure you let me know. I especially am excited to show y'all a chili stuffed grilled cheese. It was out of this world good. I cannot wait to make it again. It was so delicious. So if you haven't already, I'd love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. I do all kinds of recipe content, what's for dinners. Really, it's all about the food here. So I would love to have you join me. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're excited to get into these recipes. And let's go ahead and get into the recipes. So first up, we've got our Wendy's chili copycat recipe, and we're going to just be making this in the crock pot. I'll have the recipe linked down below. I did make a couple of changes, and I'll make sure to add those notes in there. But right now, I'm just getting started on dicing up some onion to go in here. Now, if you want to, you can definitely saute the veggies in this recipe beforehand if you want to give it, that does give it a little more flavor. But the way it is right now, it's really a dump and go recipe if you already have cooked frozen ground beef in your freezer like I do. I'll link that video below where I show you how I do my ground beef, and then that way if you want to try to do that as well, you may already do that, but it's such a handy thing to have on hand. It's just one less step when you're cooking, so I always like that. So we're just putting in our pinto beans and our kidney beans in here. The recipe said not to drain them, so that's what I did. I just left the liquid in them, and I also used a large can of crushed tomatoes as well as tomato sauce. The recipe said chopped tomatoes, and I don't like the large chunks of tomatoes sometimes in chili, so I went ahead and did that. I put my seasonings all in there. We had like some cumin, chili powder, black pepper, all that good stuff, as well as my onions going in. I've got some celery, and then I'm going to also add in some green bell pepper, and I just used frozen that I had in my freezer. And so really this was very simple, very little prep. It just all threw in the crock pot. And I've got 1 cup of beef broth. The recipe actually said water, but I feel like anytime you can add a little extra flavor, why not? So I used beef broth instead. I'm just stirring this up just so that everything kind of gets mixed together. And then we're just going to cook this on either high or low, depending on what you like. It's really everything's cooked in here already. So you're just developing those flavors, getting everything mixed in. So maybe for 4 hours on high, or like 6 to 8 on low. Just really depends on what you need it, how long you need it to cook for. And really it can go for a while in there. You can turn it down low and keep it on there for, all day, and everybody can kind of eat chili throughout the day. So I've just topped my chili with some shredded cheese, and I've got some crackers to eat with it. I like to crumble the crackers inside and eat that all together. Next up, we're going to use that leftover chili, and we're going to make us a baked potato with chili. So I'm just going to bake these potatoes in the oven on 400 until they're nice and tender. Usually that takes close to an hour. And then I'm just going to fix mine like I would an actual baked potato first. That's the way I prefer to do mine, like this. You can leave it plain if you want to, and then just add sour cream on top of the chili and the cheese if you like. But I went ahead and did butter and sour cream just like I would for a regular baked potato. Then we're just going to top it with however much chili you'd like, and then top it with some shredded cheese. And really you could do whatever you want here. If you want to add some bacon, maybe some chopped onions, jalapenos, whatever you like, it would be perfect on here. This is such a delicious meal. I love baked potatoes anyways, and adding that chili just makes it really hearty. And who can go wrong with cheese, right? Because cheese is always good. So this is another crowd pleaser for us. Now next up, we have chili cheese sheet pan nachos. And y'all, all these recipes are super simple, so it's a great way to turn these leftovers into something completely new. So I'm just preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I'm just adding some tortilla chips here. We're going to top it with the chili. and then cheese on top of that. You're going to bake it for about 15 minutes or just until everything's all warmed through and the cheese is all melted. You can use whatever kind of cheese here too. I use sharp cheddar. I like that one a lot, but some queso quesadilla cheese would be delicious, or even some queso would also be yummy. So whatever kind of cheese is your preference. And now I didn't put any toppings on here when I did this. You definitely could if you'd like. I went ahead and just did the chili and cheese and the nachos, and then I went ahead and topped it afterwards. So here's all that melty, cheesy goodness. It looks so delicious, and these really are. I used to go to a restaurant called Logan's, and they always had like these chili cheese nachos, and they were the best. They were so good. So this kind of was the inspiration for this. I'm just adding some sliced jalapenos. I always get the mild ones, that they're like tame or whatever, I think, so they're not so spicy. And then I'm adding some sour cream. We're going to go ahead and cut up some avocado. That one had seen a little bit of better days, so I had some of it trimmed out of it. And then we're going to also chop up some tomatoes and add that. And again, y'all, here you can add whatever your heart desires, whatever your favorite nacho toppings are. Speaking of that, what are your favorite nacho toppings? I'd love to hear that in the comments below too, or read that in the comments below too. I love all kinds of stuff on nachos. To me, like the more, especially like veggie type things, I love adding the veggie type stuff on it, you know, peppers and onions and all that stuff. So it's so good. Of course, in the chili, we already have peppers and onions and things like that. But even sometimes adding that extra crunch on top can really be yummy too. So you can, like I said, dress these up however you like. But this is just what we did. Again, a great way to use your leftover chili. Make something totally different. You know, sometimes leftovers can get tiring. And now, doesn't this look delicious? So you wouldn't even think about it being leftovers. It'd just be a delicious dinner. So next up, we have yet another delicious leftover idea, and that is a chili stuffed grilled cheese. My daughter gave me the inspiration for this. She said, I think this would be really good. I'm like, I'm with you, girl. I'm going to try that. We're going to see what that's like. So we're, of course, just buttering the bread. Everybody pretty much, you know, has made a grilled cheese, I'm sure, before. I actually decided to use, I get the Sargento sharp cheddar, the really thin slices. And I used 2 on each side. So you'll see me do that in a minute. But, you know, I've just got a skillet there about on medium heat. I usually find that once it heats up, I have to turn it down to like a little below medium. But I'm laying that cheese on there. We're going to go ahead and top it with just a little bit of chili. Don't overload it, because if you do, it's just going to go everywhere. But just enough to kind of leave the little borders around it so that it doesn't, you know, kind of ooze out everywhere. But, and try to get like the thickest part of the chili versus like, you know, where you have the soupy kind of parts. And so it has total of 4 thin slices of cheese and that little middle of, you know, delicious chili in there. Just grill it on those sides until they get done. And then we're going to be ready to cut it up. And y'all, I'm telling you, this was so good. Oh my goodness, that crispiness from the buttery bread and then the cheesy goodness and then that chili inside. Oh, wow. I thought it would probably be good, but I was really impressed with how good this was. So I definitely recommend you try it, and you're going to get to see that cheesy goodness in there. And see, it just the way I did it, I was able to keep it all pretty much in the sandwich. It's starting to ooze out a little there, but this was delicious, y'all. I really recommend you try it. It was so good. This was definitely a delicious twist on a grilled cheese. We'll definitely make that one again. So next up, we have chili spaghetti. And I want to tell you about these noodles. If you haven't tried them before, the Rao's spaghetti noodles and linguine, I've tried both of them. I'll tell y'all, if you haven't tried them, you really should. They are the best noodles. I didn't really think, like, really, what difference could noodles be? You know, noodles are noodles. But there's something about these. The texture is just so different, and they're so good. So that's pretty much all I use anymore, spaghetti and linguine noodle-wise, is that. It's so, so good. So I'm just chopping me up some onions so I can have some diced onion to top my chili spaghetti with. I know that Steak and Shake, I think they have this on their menu. I want to say I've had it before, but I know it can be popular in certain regions and everything to have the chili spaghetti. And so I've heard it's a really good combination. I know I like chili, you know, like the chili mac and that type of stuff. So I thought, I bet this would be really good. So once our noodles were done, I did add a little bit of butter to them to kind of just coat them in that and keep them from sticking. And then I just topped it with some of the chili heated up and some cheese and those diced onions. And y'all, this was really good. It was like comfort food. The chili and the noodles and everything was so good together. Again, you could definitely add you some more toppings on here, you know, put your own twist on it. But this was definitely another delicious way to use up that leftover chili. And next up, we have oven-baked chili cheese dogs. So now, I've actually made these on my channel before, but I could not make a leftover chili recipe video without including this because these are so amazing. So first, you're just going to start with kind of, I was going to say buttering, but you're putting mayo on the inside of the buns, and it's going to kind of just help kind of have a moisture barrier there. And so you're just going to get those all done, lay them in your baking dish, and then you're going to fill them with mustard. And you can also use relish. The recipe mentioned relish. I didn't do that. And I didn't do mustard on all of them because everybody didn't want mustard. So I've got the mustard going in the ones who did want it. And then we'll put the hot dogs in there. And again, like I said, you could add that relish in there if you want to as well. We're going to then put the hot dogs in there, top it with the chili, with cheese, and onions on the ones who wanted it. Again, that was one of those. The ones who wanted mustard wanted onions, which was me and my daughter. Now, once you get all these, you know, filled up and everything, you're just going to cover it with foil and bake it in the oven for 45 minutes at 350 degrees. Now, I recommend you spray the foil with some cooking spray to keep it from sticking to the cheese. That works so well. So that's what I did. And once we opened after it was done, we pulled the foil off, and I just kept smelling, like, as I pulled it out of the oven, like, I don't know if y'all have ever gotten Sonic's chili cheese dogs, but I always get onion on mine. And I kept thinking, that smells so familiar. And then my daughter said, it smells like Sonic. And it did. It smelled like a Sonic chili cheese dog with onions. It was so good. These are amazing. I absolutely love them. I don't eat hot dogs a whole lot, but this is definitely my preferred way when I do eat them. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this video today and found some new ways to use up your leftover chili. You know, today's the first day of Crocktober, so I'm going to try to have some other crockpot recipes for you this month and make sure you have plenty of slow cooker inspiration. So don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any delicious recipes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.